What up, everybody? We're all on the edge of a cliff. Oh, intense times it is, my friends. Intense times it is. I'll let some people collect here in the live before I go into the meat and potatoes. I am in traffic. It's an LA thing. This is quite the most intense kite that I've ever think that could be aligned in our lives, for real. If you've never been into astrology before, I'm referring to a kite in astrology, which is pretty rare to have a kite form, and especially it's even rarer when a moon is the one that connects the grand trine of a kite, because it's a fast-moving energy, and especially a lunation part of it, and especially when that kite is formed with major aspects that are all exact at 18 degrees of the 3 planets that are in dignity in their home signs. I mean, it takes Jupiter 12 years to be at this position. It takes Saturn 30 years, 29 and a half, right? And then it takes Neptune 165. And they're all at 18, and they're all coming into major alignments. Just Jupiter square Neptune by itself at 18 and 18 hasn't happened since 1852 into 1853. So yeah, this is rare. And so what I kind of wanted to bring up today was, I've been watching this show called The OA on Netflix, which I forgot. I think I got like 4 or 5 people who told me to watch that show. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Has anybody watched The OA yet on Netflix? It's called, like, I guess when you watch it, it's like The Original Angel. But I feel 100% there's a lot of correlation with that show and what's going now with this alignment of these eclipses, and with truly I said it today in my daily on High Vibe. By the way, the iPhone app is out now. It's like this Mars opposed Saturn on the nodes is basically an eclipse, even though eclipses are only with the sun and the moon. But we are having this extreme alignment on the nodes. It's like a karmic, and they're the 2 malefics, Mars and Saturn, in opposition. This huge karmic ecliptic aspect is the backbone to this kite. Really intense, because it is like a forcing upon of realigning either with your divine emotional self, no matter what that looks like, or blocking that divine self and completely just doing the old game again. Like, I'm gonna just play the old game, and the old game is not fun right now, because you know in your soul it's not the place to go. The old game is just not gonna work. It's uncomfortable. Listen to your feelings and what is going on. This is a very heightened test of your true spiritual ability to listen to the feelings going on around in your life, and when it feels off, not right, not together, that's how you know it's an old emotion trying to relive itself. Pluto's trying to create this, it's like Frankenstein, I guess, like try and like bring back the dead, of an old way that you were living, like on Saturn, like fuck that noise, you know what I mean? Fuck that noise. I ain't into that shit. So, not easy. I wish I could read, a little closer. But yeah, people are feeling the changes. So, I know, and I'm like a little sideways today. What up? A little sideways action. And, totally. Oh, I love AM radio. So, yeah, it's, but this whole OA show, I don't want to give it away for people who haven't watched it yet, but watch it, I guess is all I'm going to say. And then, I don't know what point I'm on anymore. Maybe like 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know. But another point I would like to make is like, if we really kind of take this moment and we see where we're at. I mean, we got this major full moon this weekend with the benefics. So we're going through a lot of really hard malefic energy, which malefic is like Disney stole it, like the term from, it's an old term, it's an ancient term of challenging, hard, dark energy, okay? And then benefic is the opposite. Glory, positivity, wealth, abundance, happiness. It's the battle of light and dark, I guess you could say, in life. Which really isn't a battle, it's just the balance and the order. But we have the eclipses that follow this full moon. That's going to be the last full moon, well, the only full moon that comes, every 11 to 12 years with the moon in Sag and Jupiter in Sag, in Jupiter's home sign. And this is a very rare 2 weeks here, because the choices we make determine how we enter into a world we're not going to recognize in 6 months. And that you're not going to be able to change it's not easy to change your decision 6 months from now, because it's going to be very difficult with all the Capricorn. There's not going to be as many options. So right now, at least you have options of, what seat you want to sit in, what color you want the interior to be. I used to be a car salesman, so it's kind of like, if you want a sunroof, you want a sunroof. If you want, in today's world, people want Apple CarPlay and all this stuff. Like, you want that? But you can't go down this other road with that other car or that other situation in your life or whatever. Like, you gotta, do it now, because when it comes to the 6 months from now and the world's changed and everybody's gonna be running to this new doorway, but it's gonna be like a crazy funnel where everybody's like, I should have just done that back then. I don't know what I was thinking. When you get a major lineup like that's that long, you're not going to feel comfortable. This is the moment of feeling comfortable. Because guess what? A year from now will be when we come back to Cancer energy, even though we're not in fully the Sun in Cancer yet. But you got to remember that a year from now we'll be in the craziness, and this is the time to open up the doors. Jupiter's in its home sign in connection with Saturn and even with Neptune. It might sound crazy to people, the choices that you're going to make. Crazy. People might think you were a lunatic, literally. Like, you were stupid, you were crazy. But hey, if you know it's divine in your heart and yourself, we're all here out to play some crazy gods, I guess you could say movie. Neptune's about to stop in retrograde. Square Neptune. Or square Jupiter. This Neptune retrograde coming on the solstice is pretty crazy. And at this time, a lot of people can feel frozen with Mars opposed Saturn, with Neptune stopped. But Mars is saying we gotta do it. And you know what? When you step into your true power and your true confidence in yourself to make choices that might be uncomfortable, you can release yourself. Or you can just be stuck in the shitter. And honestly, it's like, it depends on your chart, depends on your life, depends on the kind of personality you are, depends on a lot of things. There's a lot of it that is extremely correlated. But I'm just trying to help people like realize like those pressure points right now that are gnarly are real, and that as an astrologer you gotta look way ahead when you think of these choices. And what reality do you want to live in that 6 months? I believe in multiple dimensions, 100%. And there's a dimension shift based upon these tough, emotional choices that we have to make in our lives. Like, it's not fucking easy. It sucks. It's hard. Because we are all leaving this old world behind. This old dimension behind. And it's emotional as fuck. But it is, this is where you just have to follow every emotion that feels right to you and not let old rules, old beliefs, old systems, block you from being who you've got to shine. If you're not shining in yourself and you're not able to shine, there's a problem. There's a problem. Big time. And it's not going to just go away. It's going to compound harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. It's going to just keep compounding. And I think the rarest of all this is this Saturn-Neptune stuff. That's an awesome sextile in their home signs with the nodes. It is a spiritual quest, and that quest is guided by not the quest of the outer quest, although that follows by you shifting your inner quest to truly what feels right as a human for yourself. And putting drawing the line in the sand and being like, this is what it is. I don't care what it looks like to you or anybody or to anybody but me and God. That's it. That's what feels right. It feels divine. And if it doesn't make sense to other people, don't let that sway your opinion from yourself, because then you're going to dim your light. That sucks. Dimming your light is no fun. I'll bring up something extremely controversial as well right now. Anytime Saturn and Pluto have met up in Capricorn, every time, especially let's just take the last 1,000 years, major plagues have hit the planet, okay? And we always associate everything as a scientific, oh, it was the bubonic plague because of a rat that did this and blah, 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 blah. No. This is where, and I'm just going to say it, this is where dark forces are suppressing people's light, not by them forcing it upon you. You might think it, sure, there's the reality of whether it's chemtrails or the frequencies of our phone, social media, and how it affects our idea of how we should look, how our relationship should look, how we should physically look. Everything from pulling you away from who you really are. Because in those times that Pluto and Saturn hit in Capricorn, people were suppressed by religion to live a certain way, so they weren't able to express themselves fully. That's usually been the main one. Also, what's ironic to me during the times of Saturn, Pluto, and Capricorn are Renaissance periods. So you either Renaissance yourself into your truth, and it's funny when you see, like, let's take Notre Dame, for example, okay? His wife and kid died of the plague. Okay? He survived. All these people who follow their true divine light during these times and do not suppress themselves and do not hold on to some fucking stupid ass shit because you're so fucking afraid of the repercussions outside of yourself instead of in yourself. That's what creates plague. Not some fucking rat. Although, ironically enough, we go into the fucking Chinese rat right when Saturn and Pluto are starting to conjunct exact next year. So, and you know what? The rat, you have to be smart and do the things that feel within you that are right to get where you gotta go. And it looks like you are a fucking tyrant when you do it. And that's why religion has put subliminal messaging in there using this devilish figure and created this devilish idea of what a devil looks like. They wear black. They look, you know, like you think of like Marilyn Manson, even though I think that guy's cool. Or, you know, you think of like this darker thing, like unless you're wearing all white and unless you're, you know, suppressing yourself for something else, then it's ego. The new devil is the ego, which I agree with a lot of parts of the ego. But the ego has been completely genetically engineered consciously. Like GMOs are for Monsanto to create bigger fucking, you know, corn and shit and vegetables that we know is not doing well. Of like, if you follow your divine self and your divine light, that it's ego now. That's just your ego. What you're doing. It's like, guess what? More suppression. So if you follow anything that feels right to you anymore, you're fucking an ego. You're ego. And then if you get that enough, you start to believe it in yourself. Yeah, I'm all fucking ego, I guess, and I guess I don't have my own divine self, and I guess maybe I'm being called to this direction, and that's just my ego. So let me suppress that. Let me settle with what I don't feel divine with. That is the way the dark works. That's fucking truth right there. For real. That's fucking straight up truth. And you know why it's going to be so hard? Because we all were genetically embedded with these fucking horrible belief systems that are meant to suppress us. For real. Even if you say I was born not in a religious family or I was whatever, we all have it in our long-term, millennial, like going back millenniums, genealogy. And the end of the age of Pisces, is suppression. So there's going to be suppression either way, though, because it's not easy. People find they're escaping whatever that they need to, but as long as you're following your divine self, and you know you have a gauge inside, and this is the ultimate test of your own gauge, which sounds like ego, but it's not. Ego is trying to fit yourself in a box, that outer beliefs that have never come from your own self. Never. They didn't come from yourself. They came from somebody else telling you it, or somebody inviting you into that, or somebody pushing you into that. When you read the gauges of your own car, and it doesn't feel right, it's clunking, and the gauges are saying, yeah, it's not looking good, what do? You fucking take the car and it get fixed, or you fucking pull over. But we live in a life now where people are saying, no, the gauges are actually saying it's fine, it's okay to have it feel like this, and just keep driving. You'll be okay. Just keep driving. Just keep going. Yeah, I really want to fucking call AAA and be on the side of the fucking road and take a fucking Uber or something, or even go in that fucking tow truck and sit there the whole time. Like, yeah, fucking right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Like, no fucking way. See, I'm being nice. I'm letting people over. So, just dropping some truth bombs here on Friday. What do people have to say? I do curse a lot. So, I guess I'm just trying to rally the light worker troops up here, because a lot of light workers are under attack from something that was preset. It's all like War of the Worlds. If you've ever read the book or watched the Tom Cruise version or whatever, okay? Like, the aliens in that movie had preset those fucking major ships, robot destroyers, to basically ingest and eat humans, whatever you want to call it. It was preset there before we were even fucking alive, okay? The dark is not at this moment, based off the galactic center, doing anything. But wouldn't you, if you knew that your time was up, out of a room, let's say, okay? But you wanted to destroy your opponent or your enemy, wouldn't you set booby traps in there? Wouldn't you set it up with a bunch of crap? The dark's attack is in our preset genealogy, belief systems, and I mean, it can go in a lot of different directions, but it's preset in society that's all false. And the Bible talks about the false light. The false light is in many ways the light in which people think is the light. That's the ultimate trickster. They call the devil the trickster. The trickster tricks the ones that think that they're not tricked, that didn't do their own research, that didn't do, because even in the Bible they tell you to not go do your own research and just trust in this way. If I was the fucking devil, I'd fucking set it up that way. That's smart. Have people afraid to look for the truth and trust just in this and don't look outside at all? Are you fucking kidding me? Or even if you cuss, it's looked at as bad. But science has reported that people who cuss are more real and more truthful than people that don't. That's a fact. And so all this is looked at now as dark. The light is looked at as dark, and the dark is never looked at as light from what we identify dark as now. Because the truth is the truth. I mean, astrology is looked at as dark. We all know that's the motherfucking truth. You know? It's more widely accepted. A book that we all know. I've done plenty of presentations and everything that has a lot of great information, but that information has been, misaligned, misconstrued, misunderstood, not understood. And this is a hard line for a light worker to cross, because up to this point, it's been like, yeah, okay, it's easy, but for some reason it's really hard at this point, because you have to fully fucking jump over this fucking edge here. And everything in your life that is not in alignment with your soul mission and looks crazy to the world and even is gonna doubt yourself and cause you to look at, oh, I'm afraid to do that. I'm afraid to jump over that. I'm afraid to actually do that. And it shouldn't be like, oh God, I gotta make this choice, and on the other side of that is gonna be some really hard work. No, actually, it's paradise. And we are all terrified of leaving this hellhole because it's a preset system the dark set up thousands of years ago. There is no fucking crazy demon right now, physically, that is gonna fucking come into your life and do things to you. But there is preset ideas that demons set up that people that are our divine brothers and sisters can fall victim to and spread that negativity and darkness, which is literally tricked into positivity and all that shit, when really it's about suppressing. If anybody is out to suppress somebody at all, for any belief, for any idea, for any version of the way they want to live, fucking dark. And it's not even that they don't even understand it. That's the sad part. They're just agents of the dark, just like in the Matrix, that have been taken over by a bullshit ideology and situation. So that's the Leo King Truth Bomb 2019 on June 14th. So I have made it to the studios, and yeah. What's going on here? Flying monkeys, I do like that. Oh, great. I'm glad Thomas Reynolds brought this up. I was having a talk about the oil tanker bombing yesterday. There's something fishy. Somebody's not telling the truth. Which side? You know? Why was Sarah Sanders, why did she quit yesterday? Step down as the press secretary? She obviously is like, knows something. She knows something that she doesn't want to fucking deal with. You know? And Why is the president or the prime minister of Japan fucking in Iran and it's a Japanese ship that gets bombed? Was that Iran? Was it someone else? I first thought, well, could it be us? Could it be America? Could it be a 9/11 situation starting? But what if it's someone else? What if it's even somebody that we can't see? And that's what I started to really think about. What if somebody wants to see the demise of both America and Iran and Japan? That's why this has to be careful waters with all this shit. Oh, I've been telling people to at least pay attention to the news to see how the dark has set it up for people to fall for these stories. So, you guys haven't seen? Yesterday, as Mars opposed Saturn, this happened about a month ago. There was 4 tankers of oil leaving Saudi Arabia, leaving the Arab United Nations, basically I forgot how to say that country's name. I apologize, but where Dubai is, in the Strait, where all the oil leaves, because the U.S. put sanctions and was starting to tell countries, listen, if you buy oil from Iran, we're going to sanction you. Okay? So 4 tankers got shot at with literally fucking underwater missiles, and fucking the tankers fucking got, they're done. They can't move. So the U.S. officials said it was Iran. And then that's what started this Iran thing really intense. And that's why we sent a whole fleet over there. The Pacific Fleet with the Abraham Lincoln. Pretty sure it's the Lincoln. I was in the Navy, so put it this way, I'll give you some of my military history that I know. Thank you for correcting me on the country. The United Arab Emiratis. I don't know how, I'm such a fucking Californian American. I just suck at this shit. But, and I don't mean no disrespect to other nations either. But it is crazy because right as our fleet has now arrived and the Prime Minister of Japan went to Iran to try and calm the tensions down. Trump was in Japan 2 weeks ago after, I think it was either before or right after the whole deal with whatever was going on with his tour for the D-Day celebration, and in England and in France. He was in Japan playing golf with the Prime Minister. Now, one of those tankers, Japanese, there was 2 tankers, but one of them was Japanese, blew up. Go look it up, and was shot, and the U.S. is calling on the UN Council now, and all this stuff. So, just be prepared. I gotta go in. I love you all. We'll be doing spiritual dance music really soon in the next couple hours. Peace. It'll be on YouTube, and then on High Vibe is where you're gonna be able to watch recordings now, and on YouTube. But YouTube always censors 1 or 2 tracks. It sucks. So we don't get censored on High Vibe, but it'll be a free show, and the iPhone app's out now too. So I love you all. Sending you my best. Adios.